We have passed a very uncertain week with the US election. The market has in fact reacted very aggressively with that news. And if we look at DXY from the weekly, we see currently a predictable market structure, which is so this week could bring more confidence with investors that might make the market moving quite aggressively. If we look at the calendar, we can see that also this week quite eventful with the quite a few high impact news coming up in the market starting on Monday and every single day. So therefore this week we can expect quite a few instruments to move aggressively. So let's see what kind of trading opportunity we may have this week. I will be looking at all of this one by one based on multi-time frame approach to see where we can find trading opportunity. Now before I progress further, trader, make sure you give a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet. So without further delay, let's get started, starting with DXY. Okay, trader. So let's begin with DXY. I will be starting with the monthly chart to see overall picture in the market, and also we'll be looking at other instrument as DXY can give us a very clear direction of most of the USD pair as well as gold, and also we'll be looking at the end BTC USD as well as Ethereum. So make sure you stick till the end to look at all of them. So starting with DXY, looking at the monthly chart to see overall picture in the market. So from the monthly, we can see that DXY, after back-to-back 3 months of breakdown to this quite significant important support level, this month we can see that DXY had a bounce with a strong bullish impulse. DXY has formed another monthly bullish candle. As this is just the first week of the month, what I think that the market may try to push back up, as we have seen that the price reached that support and managed to break out. If we look at the historical perspective, this is a long-term bull market, and in that long-term bull market we have seen a support retest with a stronger momentum, expecting this instrument to remain bullish for long-term perspective. Now if we drop down to the weekly chart, we can see that there is a weekly bullish candle formation which in fact has crossed this doji, which has in fact liquidity. Now if we look at this weekly impulse, we can see that quite a few weeks of bullish impulse, a very narrow pullback. I'm considering as pullback. As you can see, there is a doji formation. The market has crossed that low, grabbed that liquidity, and then we can see that the candle has formed from the weekly a bullish candle, which has also a long wick at the top, which can be considered as pullback in this market. Therefore, what I think that any further pullback on DXY can give potential bullish trading opportunity. Looking at the daily chart on DXY, we can see a little clearer picture. First of all, this daily candle last day of trading week on Friday form, which is an inside bar, and we can see the market is remaining in between these red candles high and low and within this body of this candle, which signaling potential sideways movement on the daily. What I think that, as if we look at the calendar, we can see that first 2 days is little quieter, and then followed by starting from Wednesday NY session with core CPI. Therefore, what I think that first 1 or 2 days we might see potential sideways movement with little less volatility, followed by we could see any way directional breakdown or breakout. Now if we look at the daily price action here, candlestick pattern, we can see that there is a series of higher low formation, and that series of higher low is giving a probability that if DXY managed to drop any of this low, can give a potential bullish trading opportunity. But at the same time, if we look at the overall picture, we can see that this instrument forming series of lower high, and which is maintaining that pattern for quite long time. Therefore, if DXY managed to break this series of lower high for long term picture in this area, then we could see DXY again coming back down to retest this support. Now, to break down further, we can see that from the 4-hour perspective where we can find trading opportunity. Let's see that here what it has made. We can see that there is an order block. This is an order block on DXY, and also in that order block there is a fair value gap, which is an important zone where we could see that DXY is coming back down, filling that fair value gap, and we could see continuation to the upside, which is less likely, as we can see the market already formed a structure here. What I think that DXY may drop to that level where there is a liquidity retesting, and we could see continuation to the upside. So therefore, in the beginning of the week, we can expect initial pullback, which in fact an important zone where we might see potential breakout from that level. Now, based on that, let's see what kind of opportunity we have on USD pairs, starting with GBPUSD, looking at the monthly chart to see overall picture in the market. Now, from the monthly perspective, GBPUSD, we can see that there was a monthly candle had a huge breakdown, followed by this month. So we can see the market initially, we can see there was an initial bounce, and the price again has dropped to that monthly support level. As we are expecting DXY to remain bullish after initial pullback, we might see the mirror effect on GBPUSD. If we draw this monthly resistance, let's look at the weekly chart to see how the market is evolving. We can see that from the weekly perspective on British Pound US dollar, there is weekly liquidity candle formation where we can see the market, after quite a few weeks of series of lower high formation, the market has managed to break that high, grab that liquidity, form that bearish engulfer here, and that might lead that price back to this support level on British Pound US dollar. Now, looking at the daily chart on GBPUSD, we can see that from the daily perspective, this is the daily bearish engulfer, followed by a pullback, followed by we can see that daily bearish candle. With the daily bearish candle, what we can expect on British Pound US dollar for the market to come up for a pullback and then to continue to drop to the support level. Now, looking at the intraday perspective from 4-hour, we can see there was quite a few sessions of consolidation, and the market, after grabbing multiple liquidity from different zone, GBPUSD managed to drop again in that area. Therefore, what we can expect here on British Pound US dollar for the market to initially bounce for a pullback and then to continue to drop. So this could be the wave on British Pound US dollar. Now let's look at AUD USD. Let's see what kind of opportunity we have in the market. Looking at the monthly chart on AUD USD, we can see that from the monthly, there was a bearish engulfer followed by a doji formation on the monthly, and with the doji we can see there was also currently the market on the monthly support, and as the market on the monthly support, we can expect an initial upside bounce on that zone, and from that level we can expect for the market to reject towards the downside. Now, if we look at the weekly chart on AUD USD, we can see that from the weekly, there is a weekly candle formation which has grabbed also the good amount of liquidity, as this is an important zone where the price has crossed quite a few weekly high, and then we have seen that bearish candle formation. With that in mind, from the weekly, expecting for the market to drop, and what I think that from the bigger picture perspective, AUD USD could drop again to this support level. As we can see, there was a long week candle which is complete imbalance in the market that could bring that price back to that level to fill that imbalance. If we look at the daily chart on AUD USD, we can see that from the daily, this is the daily bullish candle to the upside, which is a complete breakout, against the trend, and we can see that after that the market immediately dropped back again, form a bearish candle, and this bearish candle is potentially a signaling further downside. As we have seen, this green breakout is completely against the trend, and the market again form another bearish candle. What we can expect on a USD for the market to bounce back up, retest, and then to continue to drop to the downside. Now, if we look at the 4-hour time frame on AUD USD, we can see that there was a huge bounce from this level on the intraday perspective on AUD USD. Now, with that bounce, the market has managed to break completely to the downside. And what we can expect on AUD USD, what I think that initially we might see a bounce, and that can give us potential selling opportunity on AUD USD. Now let's look at NZD USD. As NZD has initially, there is a news coming up on Monday that might make this instrument volatile. Looking at the monthly chart, we can see that previous months there was a massive breakdown on NZD USD with a long bearish engulfer, followed by what we can expect this month for the market to retest or initially to bounce for another retest of this monthly resistance, and then we can expect for the market to drop back again. If we look at the weekly chart on NZD USD, we can see that from the weekly perspective, this is a bearish engulfer. We can see there was a huge breakdown on NZD USD, followed by this is the weekly candle, which is in fact a strong bearish engulfer on NZD USD. And with that bearish engulfer, what we can expect for the market to drop again to the support level. If we look at here, which is an important support level, we have seen there was a huge bounce as this market is breaking down every single week with a bearish candle. You can see all the red candles can give this market now momentum to drop again, as this weekly candle is in fact has grabbed that liquidity for potential downside here. If we look at the daily chart on NZD USD, we can see that from the daily we have seen there was a bounce, followed by this is the daily candle, which we could see initial pullback, and from that zone we can expect for the market to drop again to create a new lower low. Now if we look at the 4-hour time frame on NZD USD, what we can expect in this lower time frame, from this support level there was a huge bounce followed by a pullback in this market, and with that pullback what we can expect on NZD USD for the market to return back to the upside, and any pullback in that zone can give us potential selling opportunity on NZD USD. Now let's look at euro dollar. Let's see what kind of opportunity we have. Looking at the monthly chart on euro dollar, we can see that from the monthly perspective, after previous monthly bearish candle formation with a long wick at the bottom, this month we can expect for this market to drop again, as in the first 10 days we have seen a very strong bearish pressure on euro dollar, and I think that this week we might see the market is going up for a deeper pullback, and then we can expect for the market to drop back again to the support level. If we look at the weekly chart on euro dollar, we can see that from the weekly perspective, this is the weekly move here, and previous week we saw a doji formation, which in fact has crossed this weekly high and closed as a long wick doji. Now this week we can see the market has crossed that high, grabbed the liquidity, form a very strong bearish engulfer on the weekly perspective. Now if we look at the daily chart, we can see that from the daily there was a huge breakdown followed by narrow pullback, and this week we can see the daily price action here, which is a bearish engulfer. And with that bearish engulfer, what we can expect for the market to go up to retest and then to continue to drop again to create a new lower low. Now if we look at the 4-hour time frame on euro dollar, we can see that in that lower time frame the market had made a very strong breakdown followed by a pullback, and that pullback in fact tested this support here as a resistance, and with that support turning resistance on euro dollar, we can expect for the market to drop again. As we can see last session of trading week, there was a bearish engulfer which is signaling potential further downside on euro dollar. And with the market open, any pullback to the upside can give potential bearish trading opportunity on euro dollar. Now let's see on gold what kind of opportunity we have on XAU USD. Now looking at the monthly chart on XAU USD, we can see that from the monthly, after quite a few months of aggressive move on XAU USD, it managed to now break below with a potential for deeper pullback. Now, if we look at the historical perspective on XAU USD, we can see that it's a long-term bull market with this inverted head and shoulder formation, a strong breakout pullback. It is in another impulsive phase on XAU USD. Now, this is the month. Last month, we can see that after this bullish candle, the market managed to break below. Now, if we look at the Fibonacci perspective on the monthly, we can see that this is where starting of the impulse to the end of the impulse, and we can place this 38.2% Fibonacci level, where what we can see, this is a support level here, and if the market managed to break below, that can give a very strong liquidity grab, and that might give another bounce to the upside. Therefore, there is a potential for further downside on XAU USD for a deeper pullback on the monthly. Now, if we look at the weekly chart, what we can see that from the weekly, this is the weekly bearish candle with a long wick at the bottom with a healthy body in it from the weekly perspective. As we can see, there is a long wick at the bottom. We might see that XAU USD coming down and feeling that long wick to the support level. As below this doji, there is a high liquidity. As the price moves from liquidity to liquidity, as we see there was a huge liquidity gap with this doji, we may see that XAU USD coming back down to that support level. Now, if we look at the daily chart on XAU USD, we can see that from the daily perspective, after this daily strong bearish drop followed by a pullback on the daily, and we see there is a head and shoulder formation here, breakdown from that head and shoulder with a pullback to retest of the neckline. And what we have seen last day of trading week, a rejection from that neckline can give probability for XAU USD to drop to that support level. As we have seen on the daily, this is a daily bullish engulfer with a stronger momentum, and that daily bullish engulfer has got a huge liquidity. As if we look at closely, we can see that there was it has crossed that low, formed that bullish engulfer, made this huge movement, and as we see another head and shoulder formation, probability for XAU USD to drop to that support level is higher. Now, looking at the 4-hour perspective on XAU USD, we can see the last session there was a bearish engulfer, as it is in a downtrend. If we look at, there is a big drop followed by a pullback, and expecting for the market to drop again to that support level. Therefore, what I think that in the beginning of the week, we can expect short-term drop here to that support level. The price action may remain bearish on the lower time frame. If we look at the 15 minutes from day trading perspective, as XAU USD, we trade on the lower time frame as well, we could see any bounce here in the beginning, and that can, as this level is important, what I think that if any break towards the upside can give potential selling opportunity on XAU USD. Now let's look at dollar Swiss franc. Let's see what kind of opportunity we have in this market. Starting with the monthly chart on dollar Swiss franc, we can see that from the monthly perspective, this is a monthly impulse. What we have seen, that dollar Swiss franc from this level, there is a huge drop to that support level, followed by another monthly impulse, and previous months has formed this bullish engulfer with a long wick at the top. Now this month, what we can expect on dollar Swiss franc for the market to drop initially for a pullback and then to continue to rise to the upside. If we look at the weekly chart, we can see a very strong potential bullish price action on dollar Swiss franc. What we can see, there was a bounce followed by narrow doji. We have seen another bounce here, and there was also narrow doji here previous week, and with the eventful week we saw the market has crossed that low, form a very strong bullish engulfer, which in fact a very strong liquidity candle that can give a further momentum for dollar Swiss franc to continue to rise, as this is the previous swing low here, which we might see the dollar Swiss franc going up and retesting this level. If we look at the daily chart on USD CHF, we can see that from the daily perspective, this is the daily bullish engulfer, and what we will be waiting on dollar Swiss franc for the market to come down for a pullback and then to continue to rise to the upside to create a new higher high. Now, if we look at the 4-hour time frame on USD CHF, we can see that there was a very strong momentum followed by a pullback, and with that pullback we have seen again the market started to break out, forming a potential inverted head and shoulder. With the beginning of the trading week, we can expect deeper pullback, complete that inverted head and shoulder, and then we can expect it to bounce back up to create a new higher high. Now let's look at yen pairs, starting with dollar yen, looking at the monthly chart to see overall picture in the market. Now from the monthly, we can see that dollar yen is a long-term bull market. Previous months we have seen a bullish candle formation, and with that bull candle formation on dollar yen, what we can expect for the market to retest and then to bounce back up again to create a new higher high. Now looking at the weekly chart on dollar yen, we can see that from the weekly perspective, this is the weekly drop here, and with the weekly drop, the market currently moving back up again to create a new higher high. So we can see that there was a doji formation previous week as well, and with the doji formation, what we can expect on dollar yen for the market to break this low, which can give a stronger momentum and then to continue to rise to create a new higher high. Now looking at the daily chart on dollar yen, we can see that from the daily, this is the daily impulse here. We have seen a very strong daily bullish price action, which we saw that there's a bullish channel and followed by breakout pullback. And currently the market again is in another impulsive phase. And at the same time, after this daily impulse, the market managed to break again, couldn't create a new higher high. What I think that now we might see it could break below again to grab liquidity, and below this daily support where there is a high probability for dollar yen to grab and then to bounce back up to create a new higher high. Now looking at the intraday perspective on dollar yen, we can see that there was a bounce here after this long consolidation breakout. The market is coming back for a deeper pullback, and what I think that now we might see initially drop as this market here has broken below from this impulse. We may not see further bounce without breaking this low, as it requires bigger liquidity to bounce back up to create a new higher high. Now let's look at GBP JPY. Let's see what kind of opportunity we have in this market. Now from the monthly perspective on GBP JPY, we can see that this is also a long-term bull market, and with that long-term bull market, what we can expect on GJ, as we have seen, there was a drop here to that support level, and after that the market managed to series of higher low on the monthly, and previous months a bullish candle. This month what we can expect for GJ to bounce back up to create a new higher high. Now if we look at the weekly chart on GJ, we can see that from the weekly perspective, this is the weekly impulse followed by a pullback, and we can expect another impulse on GJ. Now this is the weekly candle where we see that there was also an inside bar here, and what I think that this week we might see a potential break before it bounce back up to create a new higher high. If we look at the monthly support level, this is the monthly zone where the price bounced, and we could see now another potential retest before moving back up, as there is a monthly doji formation here, which is the resistance turning support here. Now if we look at the daily chart on GJ, we can see that from the daily perspective, this is the daily bearish candle here, and what we can expect on GJ for the market to retest and then to drop back down again to create a new lower low. This is an important support level here on GJ, expecting for the market to retest and then to bounce back up. If we look at the 4-hour time frame on GBPJPY, we can see that from this intraday perspective, there was quite a few candle formation, liquidity grab, drop, liquidity grab, drop, and what we can expect on GJ now for the market to retest and then to break below this support level. That could be the wave on GJ in this upcoming week. Any pullback to the upside can give potential selling opportunity in this market. Now let's look at what's happening with the crypto. Now we can see that BTC USD and Ethereum had a very strong momentum. Let's look at the monthly chart to see where it is heading. Now looking at the monthly on BTC USD, we can see that from the monthly perspective, there is a bounce followed by a narrow doji, and we have seen another bounce formation, and we have seen quite a few months of consolidation. The market now breaking out from that consolidation, as we have seen after this consolidation quite a few months of bull move, and we have seen quite a few months of consolidation again, which might give now BTC USD a very stronger momentum for this bounce to the upside that bring the crypto again on the bull side. Now if you look at the weekly chart, we can see that this is the weekly candle which is almost closing, and with that weekly close, what we have seen, the price has crossed back to back two important doji in that area, grab the liquidity and then bounce back up with a stronger momentum. Now this weekly candle is quite significant as it has grab liquidity, and we have seen from this weekly perspective there's an inverted head and shoulder breakout with a stronger momentum with a liquidity grab from this support level. What I think that may lead BTC USD to bounce back up to create a new higher high. Now looking at the daily chart on BTC USD, we can see that from the daily perspective, this is also very strong bull market. We have seen that there was a daily impulse correction. The market is forming series of higher high and higher low. We have seen there was a doji formation previous week, which is in fact a very strong liquidity grab. And this week we can see that this is the daily candle which is bouncing back to the upside, and we can expect for the market on BTC USD to come down for a deeper pullback and then to continue to rise to create a new higher high. So if we look at the intraday perspective, we can see that BTC USD after this initial bounce, we have seen a little exhaustion and then again another bounce. So this is a strongly bull market, and depending on what time frame can be traded, what I think that if you look at the 1 hour chart, we can see the market is trending with a stronger momentum, and any pullback can give potential trading opportunity on BTC USD from any of this swing low. Now if we look at the Ethereum, we can see that also this instrument bouncing with a stronger momentum, as we have seen the US election in fact has impacted both of this instrument, which is volatile currently. And Ethereum, we can see that from the monthly perspective, after back-to-back 2 monthly doji formation, it managed to break out with a stronger momentum. And what we can expect on Ethereum USD for the market to come down for a pullback and then to bounce back up to create a new higher high. Now if we look at the weekly chart on Ethereum, we can see that from the weekly perspective, this is an important level where support here, resistance here, and what we can expect on Ethereum for the market to come down for a pullback and then to continue to rise again to create a new higher high. Now looking at the daily chart on Ethereum, we can see that from the daily perspective, this is the daily impulse here, and it's already in a very strong bull market, so any pullback especially to the daily support we can expect for the market to revert back up. Now from the 4-hour time frame here on Ethereum USD, we can see that there is a movement pullback, and along the way we see quite a few candle has grabbed liquidity, and after grabbing those liquidity, what we can expect this market to keep pushing high, and any pullback in this market can give a potential trading opportunity. As soon as it grab liquidity, we could see that Ethereum again bouncing back to the upside. Traders, I believe that you enjoyed this very important weekly Forex forecast. And if you enjoyed this, make sure you give a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet. So with that said, thank you, and I'll see you soon in my next analysis.